Okay. Listen, the test you have coming up, a little less than half, about a third, will be made up of material that we've been doing for the longest time. And a little more than half to 2/3 will be made up of 2 questions like these from the quiz, a substitution that we're going to start today, and a word problem that we're going to do. So if you can't handle these things, you're not going to do well on that test. On the other hand, think of it as this quiz is helping you prepare for that test that you have coming up, and what you'll need to do and what you have going on, okay? So I'm looking around and I just see disinterest and I see distraction. And unfortunately, the consequence to that is long-term suffering. So we don't want that to happen. We want you to stay on top of the game and for you to get good at it. As I graded the quizzes, for the most part, there were some kids who were very good at both of them, maybe 5 of those kids. There were a lot of kids who were very good at one of them. And then there were some kids who were not good at either. We need to get you today, if you were not good at 0 of them, or if you weren't good at any of them, we need to get you to be good at one of them. And if you were good at one of them, we need to get you to be good at 2. And if you were almost perfect, with rare exception, you made a very, very avoidable mistake. Okay, so let's go over the first quiz question. And then after the first quiz question, we'll go over the second quiz question. And then we will go into graphing from the homework. And then we'll go into today's lesson. So we have a really full boat. Ishi, can you kill the lights, please? All right. And the first question we had was to solve algebraically. 2x plus 3y equals 13. 5x minus 4y equals 21. I hope that you are paying complete attention because this work is very doable, but you are going to need your best effort to get it down pat. Now, do you notice how the x's are on top of the x's, the y's on top of the y's, the equals on top of the equals, and the numbers on top of the numbers? Okay? That is saying to you that there is a proper technique to do. The proper technique is to eliminate a variable. And we're going to use what we call the elimination method. And that's what we've taught you so far. So that should be you should be pretty comfortable with that. Look, years ago, I had a kid wrestle for me by the name of John Wilder. And John Wilder was fantastic. He's actually a UFC fighter now. And yes, and John was very, very tough. And he had the best firemen of any kid I've ever coached. He used a lefty fireman, so he wanted the other guy to put his left arm forward. And by the time word got around about who John Wilder was, if you went to wrestle John and you put your right arm forward, which a lot of kids did, you lost. He would pin you in under 10 seconds if you put your right arm forward. So when he went to wrestle you, kids would go out there and they'd go like this. They would not put that arm forward. Because if the arm was forward, he would do his first option, which was the fireman's carry, and he'd pin you every time. So after in a time they went like this, and John couldn't grab the arm anymore because it was too far away. So John had to learn a second alternative, a second technique, and he learned a move called the low single. And between the fireman's and the low single, John became devastating. And he was actually a Empire State Games champ doing this, and he went to college on scholarship for wrestling. And like I said, now he's in the UFC. Now, when you see the numbers lined up like we just spoke of, that means it's time to work on the elimination technique. Now, the problem with this one, the way it's written, is if I just add them up, I get 7 x's minus a y equals 34. And it doesn't do me any good because I still have 2 letters. The elimination technique is called elimination because you get rid of, eliminate means get rid of, turn to the person around you and say eliminate means get rid of. That's stuff, come on. Loudly, proudly. Eliminate means get rid of, come on. Good. Now, the elimination technique means to get rid of one of the variables. Now, the easiest variable to get rid of is usually the one where the signs are opposite. So we see that the y's are opposite here. Now, this is a lot like getting common denominators from fraction work, Ethan. What we do here is we want to get the least common multiple of the numbers, the coefficients, in front of the y's. So I just ask myself, what number do 3 and 4 both divide into? 12. If you are ever concerned and you can't do it, just multiply it. Just do 3 times 4. It always works. Okay? So to do this, I'm going to multiply the top equation by 4 and the bottom by 3. So I distribute the 4 to all of the terms, and I get 8x plus 12y equals 52. And then on the bottom, I see some people who didn't get this right, who aren't copying this stuff down. This is very important. Okay? And then the bottom one, I distribute to 3. And I get 15x minus 12y equals 63. And now, die. 8x plus 15x is 23x. They add up to nothing, equals 115. They add up to nothing. What's positive 12y's and negative 12y's? Nothing. So they get eliminated, which is why we call it elimination. And then I just add 8x's and 15x's is 23x's. 52 and 63 is 115. Because I want to match up my y's. If I just add them here, they don't wipe each other out. But if I multiply 3 by 4, I get 12. If I multiply 4 by 3, I get negative 12. So that is why I picked those numbers to use.
So it goes by y?
It goes by, it can go by any of them, first of all. But I tend to like to use the ones where the signs are opposite. That's the easiest one.
Did we do this? That's what I was asking for.
Sure. Now, divide by 23. Is there a reason for the noise? X is 5. So now I know that the value of x is going to be 5. But I'm only halfway there. I think Carmen had beautiful work up to here. Her work was fantastic. But then Carmen, you gotta make sure you go back and get y and show how you get your work for y. I can use either equation, but I prefer the top one because everything is positive. I'm gonna plug in a 5 for x. Take it in, put it right there. 2 times 5 plus 3y is 13. 10 plus 3y is 13, minus the 10. 3y is 3. Divide by 3. Y is 1. So x is 5 and y is 1. Issue.
I got it wrong.
You got it wrong because you just substituted numbers in. You didn't show the work.
No.
Yeah, you got to show the proper techniques to doing it because it doesn't always. In fact, it's extremely rare that you happen to guess the right numbers. Yes.
But then I did it a different way, but she still marked it wrong.
Yeah, I want it this way. And it's not just that. No, listen. It's not about the right answers. If this was a state test, this is what they would tell us. If you got the right answer, but you did it using the wrong technique or guessing, then you would get 1 point out of 3. So I'm just following what the state would tell us to do. And listen, I have mixed feelings about going down to wherever you went to have a good time. I'm kind of happy, and part of me says I'd love to do that with my kids. But there's a reality that says we kept going, and it's up to you to catch up.
I know, but
So the good
I
news-
already memorized that.
Right, and the good news is there's 2 more quizzes, and I'm sure that by the 3rd quiz, you'll be able to nail it.
I'm just.
Yeah, my hands are absolutely tied on that. If you get an answer right and you don't have the correct supporting work to get it, you get 1 out of 3. So, all right. Now, the next question that we have to do is graphing 2 lines. Now, not the 2 that are on here. We're going to graph these 2 lines. Y equals negative 2x plus 1, and 2y equals 3x minus 12. And generally speaking, I was blown away by how well a lot of kids did with this. A lot of kids did a really, really awesome job. So, In the first one, it's already in y equals mx plus b form. So what's the slope, everybody? -2 over 1 if you wish. And what's the y-intercept? 1. So I begin at 1, and it's a slope of -2, so I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. You know, a couple of people messed up the slope. Okay, and I'm going to write down the equation of the line. Now, here's the first mistake that I saw a lot of people make. A lot of people graphed both lines correctly, but they didn't label the lines. You need to say which line is which. It's a stickler point that, you know, this is where the state assessment test and the theory has trickled through to the way we grade our final exams and stuff. In order to get full credit on a question, the work has to be perfect. The slightest little detail off, and we can't give full credit. Now, you remember before I was talking to Angela about the fact that if you get a question right and you don't show the correct supporting work, then you actually get only 1 out of 3? Well, that's pretty bad, but to me this is even worse. If you do everything right on this, and you forget to write the equation of the line on the line, like I just did, you can only get 2 out of 3. And it's such a picky little detail that, to me, if it was worth 10 points and you gave 9 out of 10, that would make sense. But for it to be worth 3 and you take off 1/3 of the points because you didn't write lines on it, the name of the line on it, that's like getting a 67, which means you barely pass. Yet you know everything about the topic, you did something detail-oriented stupid. I don't think that's very fair, but that's the way they grade the test. Rach?
If I'm confused at how you graphed it, because if it says like +1, why did that come negative?
I don't think it says +1. Does it say +1 on the graph? No, it says y equals -2x plus 1. Oh, I put it at the wrong y-intercept. See, I copied it wrong here. That's what I did wrong. Oh, all right, so you know what I'll do? I'll just, yo muy malo.
I never saw you use that.
All right, ready? Here we go. +1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Here we go. Instant correctamundo. All right. Now, the next thing we have to graph is 2y equals 3x minus 12. So the next thing we're going to do is to divide everything by 2. And I was really happy. I looked at your quizzes and I'm saying, man, they're getting it. Look at this. They're doing a wonderful job. Y equals 3 over 2x minus 6. And I go here and they go 2, 4, 6, because the slope is 3/2. The y-intercept is -6. And they go up 3 over 2. Oh, look at that. We landed on a perfect point. She's looking sweet. And then I see, well, again, we just mentioned that a lot of people did not write the equation on it. We have to do that. And then, after all of that beautiful work, and there were at least 5 or 6 of you who did, Ishi, all of this beautiful, beautiful work. This is like the Rembrandt of math, the Mona Lisa of a Mathematica. It looks beautiful. And then, one of 2 things happened. And it happened like all over the place. Some people did not write the coordinate where they intersect. They just left it blank.
That's the main question.
Right? That's the whole point, is to see where did they cross, and they left it blank. And then, oh, if that wasn't bad enough, it's like a bunch of kids got together at lunch and said, let's see if we can make an old math teacher have a heart attack. Let's see if we can do this. Then they go like this, they go, -3, 2.
Oh my god.
What are those coordinates, guys?
That says 3 over
2, -3.
Wait,
Lots of people messed up the coordinates. They either forgot them or they wrote them wrong. Look, the x goes first. The x is +2, there it is. The y is -3. So it should be 2, -3. Okay, so where do you go from here? This is my suggestion to you. I would sit here and ask you how much you care, but it really doesn't matter what you say. I learned a long, long, long time ago that you judge actions, not words. If you care, what you're going to do is you're going to go home tonight, and you're gonna redo your quiz on second paper. Because your quiz tomorrow will have one of these graphs, and your quiz tomorrow will have one of these algebraic solution ones. And if you practice them, you will get them right. And if you don't, you will get them wrong. So if you guys are sitting here and you're saying to yourself, I want to pass math, I want to do really well, I want to get a really good grade, or even more importantly, the video I showed you the other day, if you don't want to be just average, if you want to be great, then you got to work for great. Nobody hands you great just because you're nice kids. Okay, now, to do it. All right, today's do it. In each of the problems below, solve for both of the variables. Now, take a look. Do you notice how they're all lined up just like before? Hey, head in the game. Do you notice how they're all lined up like before?
Yes.
So that means we're going to use the elimination technique. However, before I said to you what I always want to look for is when the signs are opposite. One is plus, one is minus. What do you notice here?
They're both there plus.
For the x's and y's, they're all pluses. So I'm going to get rid of the y's only because they're the easiest ones to do. But I have to multiply not by positive 3, I'm going to multiply by negative 3. So when I do that, I get negative 9x minus 3y equals positive 12. That's, notice that I distributed to all three terms. And then the bottom I could just write over again. I don't need to change the bottom because, if you notice, they're already matched up. Die. Negative 9x and 2x is negative 7x. 12 and 9 makes 21. Divide by negative 7. X is negative 3. Ish?
Yeah.
Oh, you had a different thing on your paper? Oh, let me see something here then.
3x plus 4y.
Equals 11.
3x plus 4y equals 11?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to go really fast because I don't wanna lose track. What's the next one?
Equals 8.
2x plus 3y equals 8.
All right, I'm gonna have to go really fast. Sorry about that. This time I do have to do both of them to pair it up. I can get rid of the x's or the y's. I'm gonna actually get rid of the x's this time because the numbers are a little smaller. So I'm gonna multiply the top one by, I'm gonna go positive 2 and the bottom by negative 3. You could switch the signs, it makes no difference, it'll work the same either way. So I get 6x plus 8y equals 22, and then distributing here, I get negative 6x minus 9y equals negative 16. Pardon me, negative 24. Die. Negative 9y and 8y is negative y equals negative 24 and 22 is negative 2. Divide by negative 1, y equals 2. Okay. So we got y equal to 2, and now I'm going to use the first equation to find x. 3x plus y is negative 4. It says y is 2, so I'm going to dump it in there. 3x plus 2 is negative 4, minus 2 minus 2. 3x is negative 6, divide by 3, divide by 3. X is negative 2. And that's the correct answer. Yes?
For the top one, you use the equation from the other first one instead of
Well, look, the kids told me that this is what their paper said, so I
Yeah.
don't want to.
the top equation. You put y instead of
Oh, it should have been 4y, but the same idea. I don't have time to keep going back over it. Okay, so, oh, I see what you said when I substituted it in. All right, yeah, that makes sense. All right, now I want to get to this, and this is the new lesson for today, the new technique for today. And this is the last technique that you have to learn in the chapter. It's a technique all about called substitution. Now, who has the courage to let their feelings be known before the entire class? About chiquitas y chicos.
Oh,
Chica. Who is willing to say who the most attractive member of the opposite sexes?
Thomas.
What?
That's just
Who has the courage to say?
Angela. Tom.
Miss Vermeulen.
That's what you were talking about. I was like, what the
Who is, if you could have a date with any guy on the face of the earth, any guy in the world, could be Hollywood guy, singer, rapper, all the other.
Can I say it?
Who would that person be?
Justin Bieber.
Hey, can I hear here? Hey,
I know.
Harry Styles. Okay.
Oh my
Now,
God.
let's say that you think it's Harry Styles who comes out to the house. He picks you up in a limo. He takes you out on a date. He goes to a really good restaurant, Taco Bell. No. He actually takes you to a really nice place. And after the really nice place, he takes you out to an excellent movie. And then he plays a concert, and he gives you backstage passes, and you have a great time at the concert. And at the end of the night, at the end of the night, you realize it was not Harry Styles, but his exact identical twin brother.
Still be happy.
Are you gonna complain?
I went to a movie.
No, I didn't think so. I can tell you that if I was not a married man, and Shania Twain's exact identical twin walked into the room and asked me on a date, I'm gonna go, oh no, you're not Shania. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go, oh yeah, where are we going? All right? Now, my next question to you is this. If you go up to a soda machine, and you have $1 bill, it costs you $1 for the can of soda. And you go to put the bill in the machine and it keeps rejecting the bill. It won't take the bill.
That's annoying.
What could you, it is annoying, but what could you do that would still get you the soda?
I
Oh,
break
get
it.
it. Another one.
You might think that this is very, very wrong, but I kicked the machine.
Yeah, that's not it. No, you take the $1 bill and you trade it for what?
Another
4 quarters. And then with the 4 quarters, you get the machine. So, you have your choices. You can either learn or not. Now, you see how it says an x is equal to a y minus 2?
Yes.
What that means is that the x and the y minus 2 are identical twins. It's like $1, 4 quarters. They're exactly the same thing. You cannot tell them apart. The only way I can tell the Whitnevins apart is it's Blair with the long hair. Otherwise, I have no idea which one is which. They are, for all intents and purposes. Oh, and by the way, a good friend of mine's son is dating an identical twin. You get in a lot of trouble doing that. So, look, you see where it says 3x plus 2y?
Yes. Yes, I see it.
See where it says 3x plus 2y equals 29? I am going to trade the x in the same exact way I trade a $1 bill in for 4 quarters. I'm going to leave the 3, I'm going to leave the plus, the 2, the y, the equals, and the 29. These are all going to stay the same, but I'm not going to put x. What do you think I'm going to put instead of x?
Y.
Y minus 2. Because it says x is what? Y minus 2. Now I just solve it the way I would any equation that I've already always known how to do. 3y minus 6 plus 2y is 29. Is this a same side situation or an opposite side situation? Same side. 3y's plus 2y's is 5y. Minus 6 is 29. Add the 6. 5y is 35. Divide by 5. Y is 7. Am I done? No. I found y. What did I not figure out yet? X. So it says here that x is y minus 2. So x is 7 minus 2. X is 5. And now I have my correct answers. This technique, guys, is called substitution. Who thinks they know why it's called substitution? Because I what? That's right. I'm substituting the thing x is equal to, the y minus 2. I dump it in, and then I solve it. Let's take a look at the next one here. Ready? What would I substitute? We won't have time to get this whole problem done. But what would I substitute in here? What would be the thing I change? Ethan? I would change the y for what? Because it says y equals. What does y equal? It says it right there, guys. What does y equal?
X minus 4.
So I take the 5, the x, the minus, the 2, the equals, and the 14. I leave them all. But instead of the y, I put its identical twin, x minus 4. And then I just solve that equation. Okay? Tomorrow we do another day of substitution, and then we will have covered all the techniques that we need to know for this chapter. Yes?
That I did over the,
Um,
the pre-learn.
All right, nothing for a day, and when they do the homework check tomorrow, we'll check it then. Okay?
Okay, and when can I make up that test?